friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am heading off on a road trip tomorrow, so I thought before I go I could do a little bit of housekeeping and also talk to you about the decks that I'm planning to take with me. So I'm going on a family trip. We're leaving tomorrow. We're going on a road trip up to New South Wales. My cousin is getting married, and then we're going to spend about a week in Bateman's Bay. So I'm going to be gone for about 10 days all in all. But I wanted to let you know that over the last few days I have been working my butt off and trying to get heaps of videos filmed, edited and scheduled for you to go live while I'm away. Basically here on this channel I have 2 videos scheduled for the next 2 Fridays. One is a video all about my favorite guidebooks and another is a tarot in practice episode that I've been working on for quite a while. And then of course you're getting this video today. And then on my second channel there is a video going up every Tuesday for the next 3 weeks. I've got a video showing you the books that I'm planning to take with me, and then we've got a couple of reading vlogs and I'm going to be talking about books like The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson and Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So between the 2 channels, a video from me twice a week for the next few weeks. So I hope you enjoy the content. I will have access to the internet, so I'll be able to check in and respond to your comments from time to time. But yeah, just to let you know, there's plenty of content coming your way in April. Anyway, on to today's video. Over on my community tab a few days ago, I let you know that I will be going away and asked for any video requests. And Kay Han asked about which decks I would be taking with me on my travels. And I actually did think about making this video, but the thing is, I sort of usually take the same few decks. I mean, the Oracle deck does switch up a little bit, but for the most part I don't take a whole host of decks. The decision making process for which decks are coming with me is not that complex, but I thought it would still be fun just to have this little check-in and let you know which decks are coming with me to Bateman's Bay this time around. Now, although I do tend to use tarot more than I use Oracle these days, when I travel I am so much more likely to take an Oracle than I am a tarot if I only take one deck. And 9 times out of 10 the Oracle deck that I take will be one of these 3, one of these rock pool decks. Either Laura Bowen's Dreamtime reading cards, Laura Bowen's Saltwater reading cards, or Sherilyn Darcy's Australian Wildflower reading cards. And honestly, it does depend on where I'm going, like the literal location. Like if I'm going to the bush, especially like the Victorian bush, I might take the Australian Wildflower reading cards. Whereas when I go to Bateman's Bay, which is, you know, a town literally on the ocean of the south coast of New South Wales, I almost always take the Saltwater reading cards. And that is exactly what I'm doing this time. Now, the reason that I usually go with one of these decks is partly because they just are really easy to sort of take a deck and a book set together. Like these boxes are really sturdy, so they protect the cards perfectly well and the book. Although they're not tiny, they definitely don't take up a huge amount of space, the same amount of space really as a book. And on top of that, I'm not always traveling with my family, but I often do go away with my mum, and she loves these decks almost as much as I do. Every time I've taken these decks along with us, we usually draw a card each at the beginning of the day, you know, with our cup of tea, and sort of sit down and chat about what's coming up, and we draw a card sometimes for each other or sometimes for ourselves and read through the message. And the reason these decks are so great is not only because they're so beautiful and colourful, and because they're Australian and so they feel like relevant to us, they feel, I don't know, just special in that way. The guidebooks for all 3 of these decks are just great. You get plenty of information that it feels like it really lets you know what the card's about, gives you a bit of a message for the day, helps set your mindset really well, I think. But they're also not too lengthy. So for someone like Mum who doesn't really use cards outside of spending time with me, it's just very accessible, but still enough meat for her to get something out of it. So I guess I could say these are just proven time and time again to be perfect traveling companions for me. And the Saltwater reading cards, obviously, like the location, it makes sense to take the Saltwater reading cards. But on top of that, I took these with me last time we went to Bateman's Bay. And our last trip to Bateman's Bay was honestly one of the more challenging periods that I've had in recent memory. It was a really, really difficult 3-week period. And every single morning, Mum and I would get up, we'd have a cup of tea, and we would draw a card each from this deck. And I cannot tell you how sacred these few moments were with each other and with these cards, and honestly how impactful and how poignant each and every message was. I honestly felt like these cards in so many ways got us through. It felt like these cards really honoured how difficult the situation was while still sort of pushing us every day to keep showing up and keep doing what was needed. Although every now and then, like, the cards would come up and also just say, no, today you've gone too far, you just need to rest. Like, it was such clear, direct, specific messages that we very clearly and early on realized we needed to follow if we were going to get through these 3 weeks. The Sea Sponge, Emotional Overwhelm, was a card that came up for me every other day, it felt like. And we would often draw a card and then either see that animal or that plant, you know, in the environment, in a piece of art, or we would hear, you know, a news story about it or hear someone talking about it. Like, it just felt like these cards were with us not only in the morning, but throughout the day. It was such a special experience. And although it was a really difficult time, like, it helped me appreciate and connect with this deck in a way that, even though it has been my favorite for a long time, I still hadn't reached that level until that trip to Bateman's Bay. And so it was kind of an obvious choice to pick this one to take with me again. Not only because of the location, not only because I usually pick one of these 3, but because it really did get us through last time. And I don't expect this time to be quite as difficult, but I mean, who knows? With family, anything can happen. And I just know I will feel so much stronger and safer and just better all around knowing that I have this deck, this tool in my bag for whenever I need it. And then I have decided to take a tarot deck along with me. I don't expect to use it as much as I plan to use the Saltwater reading cards, but I think it's still nice just to have one on me. And although my tarot deck pick for travels does switch up a little bit more, my most common choice is this one. It's the Universal Tarot, or the Universal Weight, I think. I picked this at picked it up at like a sale at a bookshop several years ago, and I completely modified it. I trimmed the edges off, I edged it in gold, and so it's become almost like this great little Rider-Waite-Smith clone pocket-sized deck, and one that I'm not particularly worried about getting beat up or lost or anything like that. So it's honestly for that reason that I'm taking this deck, because I know that I want to have a tarot deck on me just in case I feel like I need a reading, or maybe somebody else wants a reading. I know the Rider-Waite-Smith system very well, so this deck is very easy for me to read. And then I'm not worried about accidentally leaving it behind or it getting damaged or anything like that, like I am with so many of my other decks. On top of that, I just really like this artwork. I mean, it is very Rider-Waite-Smith, and it is like there's no diversity in here whatsoever. But as far as a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, I really enjoy the colors. It's sort of got a bit more of like a watercolor washed feel, and the colors are just a little bit more pretty. Like, the Rider-Waite-Smith is a great deck, but we all know those colors are very stark and filled in, you know, very saturated. Whereas with this deck, it's a little bit more delicate, a little bit more pretty, but still entirely recognizable. All the symbolism is here. Most of the cards look almost identical or very, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith cards. So this is just sort of my throw in my bag, just so that I have a tarot deck on me, but I don't have to really worry about it tarot deck, if that makes sense. And of course, it doesn't take up much space. Like, I literally just have this in an organza bag, so it's an easy choice. A part of me did consider taking the Mesquite Tarot, just after I spent a little bit of time talking about it in another video that I made recently about its guidebook, and I read through an entry for the guidebook and I just loved it so much, and I'm always wanting to connect to that deck even though I haven't been able to yet. I love the guidebook so much, so a part of me was almost convinced to take the Mesquite Tarot just to spend some time with it. But I mean, it's out of print now. I don't really want to just be throwing it in my bag, and who knows what could happen to it. I think I will just have to make some time and space to spend a bit of quality time with it when I get back. Anyway, those are the decks that I'm taking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the next few weeks of the video that I have made for you on this channel and on my second channel. If you are into bookish stuff and you don't know about my second channel yet, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below for you. And of course, I have to say a big thank you to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon for continuing to support my channel and helping me make videos for free for the internet for you. And especially big thank you goes to Livia, Lynette Brown, Laurie, and Ian Yitzhak for their very generous support. And thank you for watching. I will see you, well, you'll see me in the next few videos, and I'll see you again at the end of the month when I get back. And of course, I'll be around and chatting with you in the comments from time to time too. So until then, so much love. Bye.